Hello and welcome to the Barneveld High School 2021-2022 Co-Curricular Handbook Informational Meeting. I am Randy Gable, the Activities Director for the Barneveld High School, and in our slide presentation today you will learn the definition of our activities, some of our co-curricular goals, expectations, and of course talking about violations and what would happen if you choose to violate our co-curricular handbook. Any activity in which students perform, serve, participate, or act as representatives of the Barneveld School District are covered under this handbook. This includes all athletic teams, fine arts and drama, Skills USA, CUSA, and National Honor Society and student government. The goals of the Barneveld School District are to provide meaningful lifetime interests and enhance skills of student participants. They also want to encourage appropriate mental, physical, and emotional growth and provide activities which create unity between students, staff, parents and guardians, as well as community members. As a participant, you also have responsibilities. These include, but are not limited to, respecting yourself, your parents, school and community, along with the rules of competition. You have the responsibility to display good sportsmanship and cooperation, as well as displaying high standards of social and lawful behavior. Finally, in our small K-12 school district, you are a model for younger students. Please do not take that responsibility lightly and set a good example for our younger Golden Eagles. Before we start talking about the code of conduct and the consequences that may come from violating the code, I want to talk about the eligibility requirements that participants need to adhere to. The two big questions I get are about attendance and academics. First, students must attend a full day of school to be able to participate or practice unless the absence is pre-planned or excused. That includes any appointments, funerals, college visits, etc. If you are unsure, please contact me or the office. Next, students absent from school on the day of or the day following an activity will be given one warning per year unless they have a pre-arranged excuse. Students absent on the day before a game or activity are okay to participate, but may need to meet requirements set forth by their coach or director. Third, students who are dismissed early from school in the spring season often. During those times, students are often given a dismissal time and are required to remain in class until they are dismissed. They are not allowed to leave early to go get things from home. If students violate these requirements, they may be suspended for one activity. And finally, any unexcused absence will be handled by the coach, advisor, or director with guidance from the AD or principal when necessary. Academics are of the highest priority at Barneveld, and as such, we expect our student athletes and participants to maintain passing grades to participate in co-curricular activities. First, academic eligibility is based on quarters, not semesters. Grades are evaluated on an end-of-quarter report date, and students must maintain a passing grade in each class they are enrolled. Students failing one or more classes at the quarter become ineligible for 3 calendar weeks in their current or next co-curricular activity beginning on the following Monday that grades are posted or when their next season starts. At the end of the 3 weeks, the student's progress is reevaluated, and if they are passing all of their classes, they may resume full participation. Students are expected to and should practice during their ineligibility period. If they are not passing all classes, they will be ineligible for an additional week until all classes are passing. Students failing the fourth quarter will be ineligible for 21 consecutive calendar days, beginning with the date of the earliest allowed competition in the next co-curricular season. And finally, a grade of incomplete is considered failing until it becomes a passing grade. and makes the participant ineligible immediately until the grade is posted. As always, we strive to have excellent sportsmanship whether we win or lose, perform well or not. Good sportsmanship is expected at all times whether you are in competition or cheering from the sidelines. Derogatory cheers towards officials, players, or other fans will not be tolerated. You will be given a warning the first time, and if it continues, you will be asked to leave. If it continues to be a problem at future events, students and adults may be restricted from coming to events or could be given a suspension per the co-curricular policy. The remainder of this presentation deals with the Code of Conduct and penalties that happen if you violate this code. The Code of Conduct outlines the behavioral expectations that are expected from you as a Barneveld student as it pertains to your involvement in co-curricular activities. The information on the next couple of slides mentions some of the things that are expected. Personal behavior or conduct unbecoming. Possession, purchase, or sale of street drugs and or performance-enhancing substances. Ejections from a contest or event in which the student is participating. Social media and online representation has the same behavior expectations that is expected in school and community. Disrespect to any school employee, student, coach, or official all fall under this personal behavior or conduct unbecoming a student athlete. A Class 1 violation. A Class 1 violation refers to people that are present at a gathering where people under 21 are consuming alcohol or drugs. These refer to those students that are not drinking or using drugs, but are present. Students who are found to be drinking or using drugs will be administered a Class 2 or higher penalty. Class 2 violations are conduct in violation of criminal state statutes other than Class 1. This would include any possession, consumption, use of alcohol, tobacco, controlled substances, including the use of anabolic steroids or human growth hormones without a valid prescription. A first offense requires that a student athlete or participant receive a suspension of 50% of the number of scheduled contests in the current or next activity the student participates. A student who receives a second offense, the suspension then goes to 100% of the number of scheduled contests in the current or next activity. Any third or subsequent offenses after that, and the suspension from all activities for 1 calendar year starting from the date the student is notified of the suspension. Next is a Class 3 violation, and this is where you will host a party where drinking or use of alcohol or drugs takes place, selling or distributing alcohol or controlled substances, and then failure of any parent, legal guardian, or student to notify the school of a police-documented violation involving the student within 7 calendar days. The penalty for a Class 3 violation is loss of eligibility of both practice and competition for 1 calendar year from the date of the violation. Violators will also be required to complete 100 hours of community service during the year of ineligibility to become eligible before they will be able to participate again. Class 4 violations are the most serious violation, and that refers to any student who is arrested and or charged with the violation of criminal state statute, ordinances, or any charge brought against a participant by local, county, or state law enforcement that he or she has violated criminal laws or ordinances. This includes all tickets and summons. The penalty for a violation of this magnitude is the loss of athletic eligibility for the remainder of that student's co-curricular career. The student is, however, eligible to apply for reinstatement after 1 year through the athletic code appeal process and completing 100 hours of community service. Administering violations. Now, first, the AD has to have belief that a violation has taken place. If they believe a violation occurred, they will meet with the student or students in question to have them present their side of the story. After that meeting, disciplinary measures may be imposed. In most cases, a violation report will involve eyewitnesses, pictures, or a written statement. In some cases, the student will step forward and turn themselves in. If a statement is sent anonymously to the athletic director will not investigate the complaint. However, after determining a code violation has taken place, the student, along with their parents or legal guardians, will be informed and the participant will be immediately ineligible to participate. Students certainly have the right to appeal their suspension as long as their violation is current or within 90 days to be valid. Once the appeal is given to the athletic director or principal, the athletic board will address that appeal within 5 business days. The student will need to appear before the board to address their concerns about the suspension. Parents may attend if they wish. The people on this board include an administrator, the athletic director, all varsity head coaches or director, and a non-involved faculty member. After hearing the student, the board will issue their decision in writing to the student and their parents. All suspensions will remain in effect during this appeals process. This next section talks about earning back time after a code violation. It is the belief of the Barneveld School District that students do make mistakes and should have the chance to rectify those mistakes. For Class 2 violations, students may earn back 50% of the suspended contests if they perform approved community service and, in some cases, complete approved alcohol and drug assessment programs. For a Class 2 violation first offense, a student will need to perform 20 hours of community service to reduce their penalty. A second offense in a Class 2 violation the student will need to perform 25 hours of community service and complete an approved alcohol and drug assessment program at their expense. A third offense, the student will need to perform 30 hours of community service, complete the assessment program, and be required to attend 2 AA or NA meetings per month for 1 calendar year. For Class 3 violations, students will be required to complete 100 hours of approved community service within the year of ineligibility. For Class 4 violations, students are able to apply for reinstatement after 1 year through the Athletic Code appeals process and complete 100 hours of approved community service. If a student receives a code violation and is suspended from a sport or activity and the season ends, the remainder of the term of suspension will be carried over into their next activity or season. All code violations will carry forward from one school to another. All students in leadership positions will have to relinquish those positions. Students on suspension will not be allowed to receive any individual all-conference awards in the season in which they were suspended. If they have a carryover into the next season or activity, they would be eligible to receive awards in that season. This next section talks about concussion information, concussion treatment, and any concussion symptoms that your student athlete or someone may have. Concussions are considered very serious, and the Barneveld School District as well as the WIAA believe that when in doubt, sit them out. So a student who receives a concussion during practice or a game will be required to get a physician's clearance before returning to practice and/or competition. The physician will need to provide documentation to the AD or the athletic trainer before being allowed to resume activities. The athletic trainer or the athletic director will not be able to grant clearance for participation. This must come from your physician. When recovering from a concussion, you will need to rest from activity until you no longer have concussion-like symptoms. After doing that, you need to get a note from a physician indicating that you are clear to resume normal activities. Some physicians may require you to ease back into activities before fully clearing the participant to resume activities, so be prepared for that. The athletic trainer will usually try to get in contact with your physician to set up a program to help get the participant back to normal activities. Concussion symptoms are varied, but here are a few things you can look for if you suspect you or your child has received a concussion. Trouble focusing or trouble with balance, a consistent headache, blurry vision, and trouble with bright light or loud noises. Now that we've talked about co-curricular goals and expectations, talked a little bit about the violations and their penalties and ways to earn back time. It's time to talk about purple card requirements. To participate in any co-curricular activity, the following items need to be turned in before you may participate in practice or competition. You need a physical or alternate year card. You need to sign the district's concussion waiver found on the Code of Conduct sheet. You need to have any fees turned into the office. And you need to have the Code of Conduct form turned in by both parents and you as a student, acknowledging that you agree and understand the requirements outlined in this co-curricular handbook. While I wish that COVID-19 has gone away, it has not, and we still have to worry about that in our upcoming athletic seasons. WIA recommendations for this year are as follows. Masks are strongly encouraged for individuals who are not fully vaccinated. We will continue with proper hygiene, such as not sharing water bottles and regularly cleaning and disinfecting our equipment, and we will continue to socially distance whenever possible. If you are not fully vaccinated, it's strongly encouraged because fully vaccinated people are protecting themselves, their teams, as well as their team's seasons. And then, of course, schools also will retain the right to follow any local health department guidelines that are recommended in their area. As always, there will still be questions regarding COVID-19 and what will be allowed and not allowed this year. And the one that we hear all the time is, will fans be allowed to come watch games this year? As of this presentation, fans are going to be allowed to come watch games this year. Of course, the Six Rivers Conference, as well as individual schools, will still retain the right to limit attendance to activities if the local and or state Department of Health provides different guidance at that time. What about your students that are part of a co-op team, such as football in Mount Horeb, or those that are involved with soccer or some other co-op sport with Wisconsin Heights? Athletes that participate with a co-op team will follow the guidelines outlined by the host school. So while you may be able to attend games in person in Barneveld, you may not be able to attend games in another school if the co-op team decides that that is the route they would like to take. And some final thoughts. First of all, good luck to all teams and individuals this upcoming school year. Please show your school pride with good sportsmanship both at home and on the road. And remember, you are role models for our younger students and fans. So think about what your actions will say to those younger than you. Finally, have a fun and enjoyable year. Good luck and represent Barneveld well.